Hello, and welcome back to Curless Mania. Today I have another special guest with me. I'm very lucky to have a lot of guests on these videos back to back. And today my guest is none other than Greg Addington. And he is a friend, a great friend, and we've done a lot of music together, recording, mixing, you name it. But he's also a huge music fan, of course. And so we always end up talking music when during downtimes or meals or breaks. One thing that we both love is we're both Beatles fanatics, of course. I mean, who is it? There's a million Beatle fanatics on the planet, but we are two of them. And we end up talking about Beatles, Beatles related, Beatles solo. I mean, we both probably have like 20 books, and we both own every record and the reissue, you name it. So, one conversation we had recently, not too long ago, actually, like 2 weeks ago, maybe, we were having dinner and we were talking about tug of war versus pipes of peace and how those two records are kind of symbiotic. They were both done back to back, 1982 and 1983, both produced by George Martin. Just to give a little background, this was Tug of War was a very transitional record. It really came off of, well, before I jump into that, how are you doing, Greg? How are you today?
Everything's good, man. Yep, excited to have a little Maca chat with you
Yeah.
today. And these records are, let's put it this way, I'm old enough that I bought them new.
Absolutely. I remember when they came out as well. I don't think I bought
Yeah,
them right when they came out, but I remember them coming out. I think the first
absolutely.
I think the first exposure I saw was the Take It Away video on MTV.
Okay.
So I think that was the first time I knew that he had a new album out. Um, so
Yeah,
um, and also Greg is straight, by the way, just a side note, he's straight in from Nam. So
I
pretty
can give
cool.
you the full NAM report too if you'd like, Tom.
Yeah. Well, that's for another video.
I think that's right.
That's a lot of information, I'm sure. Um, so anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna just jump in, give a little bit of background, and then I'm gonna hand it over to Greg as well to give a little bit more background, and then we're gonna jump into the songs for each record. So we're calling this an album battle. I don't know if it's a really a battle, but that's what we're calling it. Um, so 1982, Paul McCartney is coming off of really. It's a very transitional time for him, as far as I'm concerned, because Wings is basically coming to an end, or has come to an end. He's no longer using the moniker Wings. He he had the whole drugs bust in Japan, and he right off of that, that kind of stalled any momentum that from Back to the Egg, which I think is another underrated classic, but that's a whole nother topic as well. Um, but he so that and it kind of killed Wings' momentum as well. And he ended up jumping into a solo album called McCartney 2, which was a sequel to his first solo record, which is just basically him doing all the instruments and experimenting. Um, so come 1982, I think he was thinking about continuing Wings, and then ended up meeting with George Martin, and George basically said, "Well, I want to work with you. I don't know if I want to work with Wings. I want to work with Paul McCartney." And Greg, jump in if you feel that this is if I'm going off the rails here, but is that
No,
is
not
that
at
how
all.
you remember it?
I think that's exactly the story. And it seems to me he was like, he got together with George Martin to do a different project, like a single, for Rupert the Bear, I think, if I remember reading the story right. And then that just kind of snowballed into, hey, let's start working on a whole album together.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, and that's great. And he yeah, and this, from what I understand, it was the first time in a long time that he had had a producer of sorts there, somebody who was saying, "Well, that's not. I don't know if that's good enough." And Paul was like, "Wait, what do you mean not good enough?" And George apparently said, "Paul, that's what producers are supposed to do." Um, so he wasn't getting, it's been a while since he'd had a strong arm producer, you know. I don't know if
Right.
how
I think
strong, I shouldn't say strong arm, but you know what I mean.
no, I think that's right. I mean, who can say no to Paul McCartney, right? Who has the authority in the world? John Lennon had passed away, which is arguably the only other person, probably from a professional perspective, who could have challenged Paul on anything, right?
Right.
Other than George Martin.
Absolutely.
So, so here comes George Martin to make, probably just like in 1969, let's make a proper record, boys, right?
Yep. Yep. And that was in my notes as well, is that this is the first proper McCartney solo record, because really the first two, as I said, were kind of homemade efforts. Um, and although interesting and worthwhile, this seems to be the first time where he really puts his name, Paul McCartney, on a fully produced full length record. Um, that was my impression, at least.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know.
If you leave McCartney and McCartney 2 out of it, and then of course Ram was credited to him and Linda.
Mhm.
So, and everything else was Wings records. So yeah, this is other than the kind of the homemade, if you want to call them that, the homemade projects that he had been working on, this is the first fully produced kind of solo McCartney thing. So there were a lot of eyes on him, and hey, what is he going to do, right?
Yeah, let's book a studio and actually go in and have orchestrations and full production. And this was and it really kind of hit me today, actually. I thought that today. I was like, yeah, this is his 11th record technically, but it's really kind of like his first real solo effort. I mean, like with full on everything, kitchen sink production type thing.
Yeah, and from what I remember reading, he actually started this prior to John's death, and then stopped working on it. I don't know how far they had gotten exactly, but this was started sometime in late 1980, and then they kind of put the brakes on it and didn't start again until sometime in 1981 to start working on it properly again.
That's correct. I read that as well, and I think they took a few months off, and came back, just which is interesting. Um, but yeah, that's another transitional thing where John had was taken from us, and so that was something that kind of another thing that big event that happened to Paul during the making of this record. So, and more on that later. But but yeah, so that to me is, and then, from what I understand, Pipes of Peace ended up becoming, pretty quickly after this was released, it was a very successful release. And it seemed to me like they just went, okay, let's do it again. And that, well, they had also recorded a few songs that at the conclusion of the tug of war sessions that didn't make the record. And I think they had a lot of leftovers. Is that, you remember that?
That's
Is
absolutely
that right?
right. Yeah. In fact, it's kind of surprising. We'll talk about that, I think, a little bit as we go through song by song on Pipes of Peace, but it's kind of amazing how that record kind of came together. And I think we'll probably cover that more as we touch on Pipes of Peace. But
Mhm.
the, yeah, and I think the other thing to bring up here, you mentioned George Martin, um, is Jeff Emerick. And it seems to me that I wonder how much, so here you have George Martin producing, Jeff Emerick as the recording engineer on this, and John had just passed away. Was this, any sense of like, was this a reaction to kind of like, is Paul getting nostalgic here? I mean,
You
I
kind of
don't
wonder.
know.
You kind of
Yeah,
wonder.
yeah.
Um, and but I wonder if that he had reached out to George Martin before John had passed. I don't know. I am not sure what the chronology is, but you're right. And it's like almost like everything except for Abbey Road. I mean they're recording in Montserrat.
Oh
But
yeah, there was a famous drummer he called to be on this record and the next record as well.
yes, indeed, that's correct. And Ringo's always up for it. He's like, "Sure, Paul, whenever what time? Just book a flight for me and I'll be there."
Yep.
Um,
So all of this, uh, you can see how this would be a high enough profile that Paul must have been thinking. I hope this is a hit because there's going to
we're
be a lot of
certainly
eyes on this.
we're certainly putting a lot of resources and a lot of famous people into this project. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, it's interesting because I think Paul was, not to get too far off the top, but Paul probably of all the Beatles was the most nostalgic about, the Beatles, being he would have loved to have gotten back together with John, and he was hankering to write with him again.
Yeah.
Um, so he was probably the most, person who would want to recreate the Beatles the most. I don't think George was that interested, and Ringo was. I mean, Ringo would have joined if that had happened, but I don't think George was that interested in it.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So anyway, so
100%.
why don't we get into it? Let's get into the
Yeah.
songs. Let's go song.
Absolutely.
We're gonna jump into these records song by song. So we're really gonna dig deep, because that's what we like to do. So so why don't we start out? I'm gonna throw it over to you. Let's start out with Tug of War and
Tug
just
of
let's just
War.
go down the list.
Absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I have my record sleeves here.
Excellent.
In
So do
fact, as you
I.
see behind me, my original copies
Yes, look
of
at
all
that.
the
You have
records.
quite a display back there. I love it. Look at that.
Yeah. But yeah,
Is that the
Tug of
Say
War.
Say Say single?
That is the Say single, Tom.
Yes.
And I think we have Take It Away back there as well. A couple everything's
Nice.
so bad.
Nice.
Got to get the B-sides, right?
Love it. Yeah.
That's how you did it back then, kids.
That's old school, old school.
Yes. But yeah, Tug of War. So let's get into it because some of the interesting thing about some of these songs is if you look at them, um, at first glance, they don't look like. If you look at the lineup, who's on the songs, it's like, is this not a Wings record?
Yeah. Yeah.
Denny Lane's on Tug of
Anyway.
War.
Yep.
Linda McCartney's on Tug of War, right?
Weren't those guys both on London Town and Band on the Run?
Yeah, it kind of blurs the definition of what Wings is and what Wings isn't, right? But yeah, so I mean, Tug of War is when I first got this record, when I don't know if you remember like your first spin of Tug of War and when that was. Mine was when it was released. I got it when it first came out, and you put this on, and it's like this record definitely left a big impression on me. And this, I think the first thing that struck me about Tug of War is the production of it, right? The sound of it.
Mhm.
I mean, this was for the first time, probably since maybe the early 70s, it seemed like it was a full blown production with orchestration. Yes,
Absolutely.
classic George Martin touches on there. So that's the first thing that hit me about Tug of War. What did you think when you first heard it? Do you remember?
Oh, absolutely. I can't agree more. I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, it's my notes, I wrote some notes. I have excellent title track with amazing George Martin orchestration. So I'm with you. The production was just again excellent. Sounds amazing. Still to this day, you know.
Yeah. Yep. It has a big sound to it. The other interesting thing that jumped out at me, and I didn't remember this until I looked back and did some research, knowing our podcast is coming up, is that Paul plays acoustic, electric, bass, drums, synthesizers, and of course he sings. It's except for some additions by some guest stars on this, it's not that different than McCartney 2 in some ways, right? Except that
Sure.
George Martin is producing and Jeff Emerick is recording, and they're they were in Montserrat, I think, doing this at Air Studios, if I
Air.
recall,
Yep.
right? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
So it sounds different, but yeah, kind of Paul doing it himself, right?
Pretty much. I mean, he could always do that if he needed to, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
but
so
but it's amazing how different it sounds than McCartney 2. I mean,
right, right, absolutely, huge difference.
yeah, too. It's like you wouldn't even know, except for Paul singing, that this was the same guy playing all the instruments.
Yeah.
That was like
Yep.
the first thing that struck me. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And the song, is that again, harking back to Beatles, you know, connections here. Tug of war. We're always trying to outdo each other. We were, friendly. Is it friendly competition between he and John? I mean, is that That's what I always kind of took from that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, when you start digging into it, yep, I couldn't agree more. It's definitely, you have to think he and John, or maybe he just knows himself really well, and he knows that like he's a competitive guy, right?
Yeah,
So Tug of War could be his theme song, I think, whoever he's working with.
absolutely. So I'm giving this track 5 stars. I don't know about you. I think it's
Oh
amazing.
wow. Okay.
I love it.
I will give Tug of War. I'm going to give it 4 stars, Tom. I didn't
Okay.
know we were going with the star rating.
Oh,
Caught me off guard. You can,
I'm just
but
riffing. We don't have to do star
no,
ratings.
no, 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 no. We
I'm
can do
just
star
riffing.
ratings. No, I would love to do star ratings. I'm giving
Yeah.
it 4 stars
Okay.
out of
Cool.
5.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's move on. Take it away.
Take it
What do
away.
you think? Go ahead.
This is one of this is one of my favorite tracks on the record. Um, Take it away for me is, and Ringo and Steve Gadd both play drums on this track, and to me, so the question here's another one for you that kind of it came to my mind when I was looking through these tracks, is it's like, okay, this has a Beatley bounce to it, and it's like, did Paul, is it that everything Ringo plays on sounds like a Beatles track? And we've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yes.
or is it that Paul picked songs to have Ringo play on because he knew that he would be the right choice for that song? I don't
Mhm.
know. I think it's the first. I think it's the first. I think it's the former. I think that whatever Ringo plays on, if it's him and Paul, it sounds like a Beatles song.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that classic Beatles feel. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That swing.
Yep.
Um, yep. I mean that
And
just that whole that do 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 da, do,
yeah,
do, and he's doing the do da do do do. He's hitting the tom. So great.
yeah, it's got a great feel to it. It's got the theme of the kind of the theme of the song is great and light in a good kind of Paul McCartney way.
Hmm. Oh
You
yeah.
can see how you would catch on to this phrase right away. Take it away,
Absolutely.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I always thought this was a great song. Like you said, I remember seeing the video, and the video is, it is, you know, really, really good as well. So it's like, yeah, there's everything about this song I love. This is a 5 star song for me.
Awesome. No, I couldn't. I agree. Another. I have my notes say another winner with slightly reggae-ish rhythm. And but like you said, but with the Ringo swing in there, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome bass line. That's what I have.
Yeah.
And chorus with driving piano. I love how it has that sort of
Yes. It's
reggae-ish,
got the,
the
yeah.
reggae-ish verses, and then it goes into ding 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 ding,
Yeah. Yeah. The classic Paul McCartney piano
yeah,
thing that
absolutely.
he does. Yeah.
Love it. No, so I'm with you. I'm calling. I'm doing another 5 stars. So we're
Okay.
starting
I
out
see the way,
strong here.
I see the
We're
way this is going,
we're
Tom.
starting out very strong. All right. Somebody who cares.
Somebody who cares. Um, I'll let you go first on this one.
Okay. I I love this song. It's another 3 straight on this record. I there's something about this song. I have another classic McCartney melody. I love the backing vocals as well. Um, and it's I don't know how to describe what I like. It's the classical guitar. It starts out very mellow. And it's got like recorders or something going on in there too. Flute recorder something. And I just love the lyric. Some people will say that, this is the stuff that about McCartney they hate. That this sort of mawkish sentimentality type stuff. But I love that there's always someone somewhere. Well, you know by now. Always somebody who cares. I just love
Yeah.
that. I just think it's a really good hook. And there's just something about it that pulls me in. So it's another. I don't know if it's a 5 star. I'm gonna give it 4 stars.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and what I'll say about both of these records, just right as a blanket statement, is that stripping the lyrics aside for just a moment, Mac always knows how to write hooks, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the hooks, the melodic hooks on both of these records are very strong. Um, despite despite what lyrics are coming out of his mouth. So it's like everything's going to be catchy, and everything is catchy on both of these records.
Mhm.
However, um, I'm going to part with your opinion a little bit on this song because I this one to me is, what can I say about it? It's like a, I don't know if mawkish is the right word, but it's, this one always kind of struck me as being, I don't know if it's the sound of it. It's panpipes, by the way, I think that you're hearing on there.
I think
That's what
that's
the
correct. Yeah.
that's what the record says here.
Hmm.
And I don't know if it's the sound of it or the or some of the word choices, but this one has never really sat that well with me. I agree with you. Melodically, it's fantastic.
Hmm.
Um, lyrically, I'm just not sure. So this one's going down for me as, are we giving half stars or are we giving only
Sure.
full stars?
No rule. There's
I,
no rules.
I'm going to go 2.5 stars.
Ooh, okay. But
Yeah.
that's why we're here. This is the discussion back and forth. This is what's fun about it.
Yeah.
Everyone hears it differently.
Yeah. It's
So,
interesting.
yeah. Believe me, I'm gonna get down there at some point. It's just not quite,
Okay.
just not
I
yet.
can't, I can't wait.
Just not yet. And in fact, speaking of, the next song is What's That You're Doing?
Oh, I see. Is that a little foreshadowing
A
there,
little
Tom?
foreshadowing. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
So,
I think we may differ in opinion on this one as well
oh,
a little
okay.
bit then.
All
Okay.
right.
So
So I'll let you kick this one off.
this is the first collaboration song on the two sets, and we should say that he does have a collaborator that he does two songs with on a high profile R&B collaborator on both records. This one happens to be one of his Stevie Wonder collaborations. Um, I mean, it's got a great groove to it, right?
It does.
It's fantastic groove. It's Paul playing drums.
Oh,
It's
it is. I
Stevie,
didn't know that. Okay.
yeah, which is kind of interesting. I did not know it either.
Mhm.
And Stevie playing synth. So which you can tell, it's pretty obvious that Stevie's playing synth on this
Yeah,
track when you if
right.
you,
And that it
you
almost seemed
listen to
like
it.
you could almost picture them in the studio. That's the basic track is Paul playing drums with Stevie playing synth and sing, you know.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's exactly how it was done. Paul on drums and Stevie on synth as the basic tracks. I have no backup on that, but if you listen to it,
What it
it
sounds
seems
like.
to me, yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Um, it's a long song, and maybe that's where you're going with with the review that I'm anticipating that you're going to
Mhm.
give this song, Tom. But you know, I I like the song. I mean, do I listen to it a lot? No, but when I listen to it, I was working out at the time, and it was a great workout song.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, and the chorus is good. I like, or is it I'm not sure what you consider the chorus, but
The girl I
yeah,
like
the
what you're
girl, I
doing.
like what you're
Yeah.
doing part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it to me, do it to me, do it to
Do
me.
it some
And
mo. Yeah.
actually, and what I thought, and I didn't get a chance to do any research on this. It's like, is there like a little bit of like Rick James thing going on there?
Kind of.
There's a Rick
Yeah.
James song that has a very, very similar hook to it,
I
and I don't
never
know which
thought of
came
that, but
first.
that's a great observation. That's yeah, absolutely.
On that "Do It to Me, Do It to Me, Do It Some More" part. But I think it's got a lot of great parts in it. It's probably a few minutes too long. It's like a 12-inch single on a record.
Hmm.
It probably should have been. I would have liked to have seen like a 3 or 4 minute version, and then this version could have been the 12-inch, right? But other than that criticism, I think it's a nice little song. I would give it 4 stars.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, for me, it's the first chink in the armor for me. Um, so this is where we differ a little bit as well. So I have it's fun, but it sounds like a Stevie Wonder song with Paul playing on it. And it goes on way too long. That's also my criticism. So but I do like you said, every Paul McCartney song and so Stevie Wonder is also a king of hooks as well. So it does have some hooks on it. But it really just to me it just seems like kind of a vamp that kind of has like a little bit of a hook to it, and it's like a groove song, like you said. It's a great groove. I mean, I'm not gonna deny it's a great groove, and Stevie's very good at playing synth in a rhythmic manner, and um, but it really sounds to me more like a Stevie Wonder song, so it kind of takes me out of the Paul McCartney thing. It kind of just for some reason this song sort of takes me out, even though kind of enjoy it while it's playing. It just sort of feels like the flow is kind of interrupted. But that's just my opinion, and I'm it's not my favorite, so I'll give it 3 stars.
Okay. 3 stars isn't,
So,
I see where you're going with that.
not horrible.
Yeah, I see what you mean about the thing. I think that the Stevie part sounds like the "What's that you're doing" part, and then the Paul part sounds like "Girl, you make me feel so tough, feel I'm
Yeah,
only sick," right?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
got a kind of a, I don't know if I'm guessing who wrote what. That's my guess, but
Yep.
yeah.
All
But
right.
the next song, yeah, is I know, Here Today. This is obviously his John tribute, and it's he still plays it to this day. I think it's probably one of the only songs that he does live on this record, right?
Yes, I think so. I think that's a good. I
Yeah,
think it's very true. Yeah.
which is also kind of interesting. But when I first heard Here Today, I would have to say that I remember at the time being disappointed
Yeah.
that this was his kind of comment on his relationship with John. It didn't seem, I don't know what I was expecting, but I guess I would have thought that it would be more than Here Today. And
Mhm.
it's not that I dislike the song. In fact, if I didn't know it was about John, I would probably think, "Oh, that's a pretty little song."
Right. Right.
And go, "Okay, yeah, it's kind of yesterday-ish, obviously." And it's just Paul. It's like exactly the same arrangement, right? Paul with his acoustic, and then a string quartet over it, or under it. And yeah, I'm gonna let you comment before I rate it or anything, but that's my initial impression of Here Today.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I that's an interesting take on it. I think that we do put the John Lennon Paul McCartney relationship just because they've created so much great art together that we just have this thing that they just were just symbiotic and they were unbelievable together and they complemented each other, and but the obviously the reality, as you know, was much more complicated. And I think there was a little bit, this is just my take on it. I could be completely wrong. And people in the comments might crucify me on this one, but I think that there was a little bit of jealousy almost from John towards Paul because Paul um was so talented in so many different ways. Because John would criticize Paul a lot when they were both, post Beatles. Um, there was a lot of sniping back and forth, and usually coming from John towards Paul, and so I think that that's what the whole, and if I said I really knew you well, what would your answer be? He had this sort of insecurity about John that, were we friends? I thought we were really close and loved each other, but every time I would turn around, you'd be slagging me off. So I think that the lyrics are sort of in that vein, and agree with you in a way that maybe he could have. I don't know, lyrically, it's tough. It's a tough subject. It's really tough. I think he did a good job. I generally I still think it's very heartfelt, and every time I hear the song, it kind of chokes me up a little bit. I think it's very good. Um, it just yeah, because I think it was just the shock of him being just taken from us so quickly in a very violent manner that just was everybody was just what just happened? How did that just occur and why did it happen? And it's interesting that George's tribute was sort of an upbeat thing, you know, that George, I guess Paul and Linda did sing on that, all
Hmm.
those years ago.
Yep.
So his was sort of an upbeat, jaunty thing, and Paul's was more, like you said, like yesterday-ish. with the just an acoustic but yeah, I really like it. I enjoy it. I think it's really heartfelt. I think his heart is on his sleeve, and I think it's very honest. So I like that a lot. I would give it 4 stars.
I'm going to give it 4 stars as well.
Hmm.
Only because I think again that as if it just stands alone as a song, I do think it's a nice song,
Hmm.
even if you don't know what it's about. The fact
Yeah.
that it's about John and whatever feelings you have about um, that and that relationship, like you said, which was like, I mean, this guy, they were friends since they were what, 15 years old, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
like to even take the music out of it, it's just like, hey, here's my childhood friend who's now gone. What do I have to comment about this?
Yeah.
Um, it's a great song, and it's not a 5 star song in my book, but yeah, 4 stars I think is fair.
Okay. Well, we agree on that one then. Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
let's go. Let's flip. Let's flip. We're gonna keep moving. We're gonna flip the
we're
album
flipping
over.
it. We're
We're gonna
flipping the
that
record over
ends on
just like
here
the old
today, and you're
school.
kind of teary-eyed. Oh my
Yep,
God, John. And then it's like you turn it over and you put the needle on, and it's ballroom dancing. So,
indeed it is.
what do you think?
Ballroom dancing. Okay. So so this is a song that both, if since we're just talking about John and George, this is a song that John and George would have hated.
Yeah. Agree.
Right?
Agree.
This is the kind
Yeah.
of Paul McCartney song that those guys did not care for. Um,
No.
it's it's like this song wouldn't be out of place on Venus and Mars or something like that. If this replaced Give Me the Answer or Magneto and Titanium Man or something like that, I don't think it would have missed a beat. Everyone would have been like, okay, yeah, it fits right in on
Hmm.
that
Yeah.
style of thing.
Agreed.
Um,
Yeah.
it's it's got a nice bounce to it. Obviously, it's a catchy song. Um, I don't know that much about ballroom dancing. It was never my thing. So I always like, it was always a head scratcher for me. It's like, okay,
Si-
Paul really liked ballroom dancing.
Singing
Okay,
about ballroom dancing. Okay.
great.
Yeah.
I, I I don't know. What do you think,
Yeah.
man?
Yeah. Yeah. I have here are my notes. I have lots of fun and cool melody, piano led barrel house type feel again, that barrel house McCartney thing.
Yeah,
I have weird lyric, but fun. I like the breakdown in the middle. So I mean, I like it, but it's definitely I agree with you. It's the whole what like your ballroom dancing made a man of me 1 2 3 4 what like you're like listening to the lyrics like
yeah,
what is this about and what's the point of this song again? And I'm sure,
yeah,
like you said, John and George would have been like, what?
yeah,
McCartney doing it again, you know?
yeah.
Uh, so I think it's fun, but I don't think it's a great artistic song. I don't.
No, I don't either.
So
You got
I
a
give
star rating from you?
I I'm giving it 3. I mean
I'm
that's
gonna
probably
give it.
generous.
I'm
Probably
gonna
generous.
give it 2. That way
There you
we'll
go.
average out.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Not at the top of my Paul list. Sorry, Paul.
no, that's fine. That's no, and I agree with you. I think side 2 starts to get a little bit less exciting for me, but I don't want to give it away. So Pound is Sinking is next.
Yeah, the
Um,
pound is sinking. I'll
yeah, what
let
do
you
you
go first on this one.
okay, I have cool song kind of reminds me of an 80s version of a song that could be on Ram.
Okay.
For some reason. Lots of rapid changes in feel, but interesting. Um, so it's, it kind of starts with an acoustic pound is, he's just kind of strumming. And then but it does have some really cool changes. I like the arrangement of the song a lot. And you can tell
Yeah.
he put some effort in, he put some sweat into this song. But that being said, I have the feeling he's almost trying a little too hard. It's almost like he's shining something that's not really that as great as it, I don't know how to describe it. He's trying hard to make it special, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure how special it is.
Yeah.
So
It's not special.
I don't, okay.
This is
So
it's
I'm like I'm not
this
sure.
song.
I don't
Yeah. This song
I
is
cut
not.
So that's
Yeah,
my that's my initial take on it. How about you?
yeah, this song is not up to snuff. This
Yeah.
song is, and this is coming. Now, I think it's important for the audience to know as we say this, that just so we can reiterate this, you're listening to Tom Curlis and Greg Addington, who are two of the biggest Paul McCartney fans in the world. So when we say a song is not good, it really takes a lot for us to say to say to say that this Paul McCartney song is not very good, and The Pound is Sinking is not very good.
No.
I'm
No. And
sorry, it just isn't.
no.
The lyrics are like, what are you talking about, Paul? Like, I don't.
Again,
I
again.
tried to. I've tried to like read more into it than maybe like, and it's just like I think he just liked the way the phrase "the pound is sinking" sounds. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we get it. Yeah, pound sinking, but
Yeah.
it's really money, and it's yeah,
And
okay.
Paul gets into that whole thing where he gets a little riff and then he just goes with it. Like, oh, the pound. Now I can talk about the lira and I can talk about the yen and the
I'm glad you brought this up because the expanded edition of these records, and I'm sorry to sideline this,
Oh, go
but
ahead.
the expanded editions of these, I listened to some of the demo songs, the demo versions of some of these songs off both records when I was kind of going back and reviewing. It's shocking how the lyrics do not change on a Paul McCartney song from demo state to release state. His lyrics for all the demo stuff were exactly the same, which is amazing. Like it's not the way you and I are both songwriters. Very rarely do I have a demo of a song that ends up and the lyrics are exactly like they are when the song is released. And Paul, when he when he commits to something, he's like, "That's it. The
That's the
lyrics are
lyric.
great.
That's the lyric.
That's their lyric."
That's it. No, I'm with you. I'm always changing lyrics. I'm always changing.
The Pound is Sinking is a 1-star song. I know that's harsh.
Yeah, I'm giving it 2 stars,
Yeah,
but
and these star ratings are within the Paul McCartney universe, right?
exactly. That, I mean, that's
Yeah,
what another thing I was going to bring up is it's all relative, right? We're talking
yeah,
about, we're criticizing Paul McCartney. Who are we? But we're just talking about in level of greatness, where his level of greatness is like through the roof. So when you hear a song like "Pound is Sinking," you're like, man, for Paul, that's not hot top
yeah.
shelf. Yeah.
Agreed.
So yeah, I'm going 2 stars with it. So both of us agree that it's not one of his greatest. Um,
So Wanderlust is a beautiful sounding song, right? I mean,
yeah,
melodically, it's so classic Paul. And the theme of the song, I don't know if you know the background of this song at all.
I
I
do.
didn't really
I do.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll let you tell the story, but
Oh, go ahead.
the
Go ahead.
well, from what I understand, it's basically a kind of a biographical story where they were going to kind of charter a boat one day, and the guy, um, I guess there were maybe some illegal substances maybe on board that they were bringing on board the vessel,
Yes,
and the boat owner was gonna, I guess, call the police so that he didn't like the whole scene.
that's correct.
So
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
which kind
And
of gave a
and the boat was called Wanderlust. Yeah,
Wanderlust, yeah.
yeah.
But without even knowing that story and the background of that, um, it's a pretty song, and I think it's got like a nice weight. It's got a kind of a grandness to it that is, um, like a little too serious. For me, I like my McCartney on the light side for the most part. And but this, in terms of serious McCartney songs, if we're thinking of the Let It Be's of the world,
Hmm.
um, which I think this kind of falls into that category, I think it's a nice, certainly very catchy ballad that in a record that seems to have like a lot of, I don't know, is it fair to say this record has a lot of ballads on it?
Um,
Maybe not.
I don't know
Tug
if a
Here
lot.
Today,
I wouldn't say a lot, but
Somebody Who Cares, Here Today. Tug of War is kind of a ballad in some
Well,
ways.
that's true. I guess you're right. There's a lot of mellowish songs on it.
Wanderlust.
Right.
But in any case, Ebony and Ivory. Um, I would say that I like it, and I would give it 3.5 stars.
Okay. Okay. I'm in the same boat. I'm gonna give it, pun intended. Um, I'm gonna give it 3 stars. I have, it is pretty. It's a pretty ballad. But I kind of, for some reason, I find it sort of underwhelming. It's kind of, I like it, but I'm not really, really excited about it. I guess it's one of those. It's kind of in the middle for me.
Yeah,
Um, and George
you
Martin
could.
again adding orchestrations to it, and making it bigger. So that works pretty well. But like you said, it's a pretty song. But I'm not super excited about it. So I give it about 3 stars.
Yep,
Yeah.
great.
So now we're on to Get It. Um, I don't really know what to say.
Paul's
I don't know what to say about this.
Paul's car. I mean, so obviously Paul is a Carl Perkins fan from when he was a kid. So he's got the opportunity now to work with one of his heroes, right?
Sure, sure.
And he does it. And the
Mhm,
result is Get It,
mhm.
which is I mean, Paul wrote, I guess it should be said that Paul wrote this song. It's not a co-write with Carl Perkins, which is interesting because I always
Oh,
remembered it as being a co-write, but it
okay,
isn't.
interesting, interesting.
Yeah, it's just written by McCartney.
Oh, you're right, there it is, yeah, okay.
It sounds like it should be a co-write with Carl Perkins.
It sure does, it sounds like it easily could be a co-write.
Um, but it isn't. And I,
Sounds like
I
they're having
might,
fun.
it's,
A lot of laughing going on in the track.
that's the Midwest nice way of saying, I don't like it, but I'm glad you're having fun. Um, I think I have the same opinion of this song that you do, Tom. It seems to me that this is a song that um it Paul got to work with his hero. So
Yeah,
congratulations.
exactly. It'd be like us being excited to record with Elvis Costello or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And then producing a very, very mediocre song.
right, right, and saying, "Isn't that great? Because I played with Elvis Costello?"
Yeah.
Uh, but
This is
what's
a
it called?
this is a 2-star song, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's where
Yeah.
I that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking almost 1.5 almost. It's
Oh, wow.
pretty
Okay.
low for me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so I have "Oh No," another guest spot song. This time Carl Perkins. It's okay, but not great. Rockabilly vibe, and at least it's pretty short. That's all I have.
Yes. Thank you. Yep. There's always a redeeming quality.
Yeah. So, okay, and then it segues into this song called this little mini kind of link. It's not really a song. It's kind of weird that that's one thing I was noticing. It's like weird that it's listed as a song because it's so short. It's like a
I
link.
agree with you. I always thought it was like the beginning of Dress Me Up as a Robber. Like I never
Yeah,
even like kind of noticed if you have the record playing, it just kind of sounds like something that just
it
kind of goes right into the
it
next thing.
totally
The
sounds like
fa
the intro.
the fascinating thing is that a friend of ours, John Lowry, it's like it's one of his favorite pieces on the record, apparently. He loves it.
It's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of cool sounding. I don't know what he did. I don't know if it's like his voice through a synth or something. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's a vocoder, yeah.
Vocoder, yeah. So I don't mean it's again it's a link. I don't really want to talk too much about. It. I don't think we really have to give it a
It's
rating.
not a yeah, it's not a song, really. It's just a like a I don't know what it is. It's a curiosity, but as a curiosity, it's cool.
Kind of cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I
It's a
like you said,
it's
I
a
like it as the intro to "Dress Me Up as a Robber." So that takes us right to the next song. So,
yeah.
what do you think of "Dress Me Up as a Robber"? What's your take on that one?
I think it's dreadful.
Oh.
This song to me was like
Dreadful.
this
Oh.
song this song sounded dated in 1982. It
It
sounded
did. It
dated when it
did.
came out.
It did.
It's
Yeah.
like, Paul, you've missed the disco movement by 2 years.
Mhm.
And he did the disco thing. He did it really well. Good Night Tonight is fantastic. So is Silly Love
Yeah.
Songs.
Yeah.
Dress Me Up as a
It's
Robber is not.
yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just gonna concur with you and say my notes are almost exactly what you just said. It says, "Eh, disco-esque with falsetto vocals. Not sure what he's going for here. He did this better on Back to the Egg."
Yeah, yeah, it's exactly. If we're saying the same thing, I think
Same exact
exactly.
thing.
Yeah, same exact thing. It's yeah, it's I don't yeah, this is
Yeah.
I think this is one of the problems with like starting a record like a year and a half before it actually got released is
Mhm.
that like if this song was going to work, he needed to have recorded it and released it in 1980, and then it may have been acceptable. But in 1982, it was like, what? I don't know
What are
what
you
Dress Me
doing?
Up as
What are
a
you
Robber
doing?
is.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that I don't know what Dress Me Up as a Robber, uh, you know, I was going to dig into it, and then I couldn't work up enough enthusiasm to even try to dig into figure out what Dress Me Up as a Robber really even meant.
I just the song isn't good enough for further scrutiny. It's not good enough. That's hilarious. That's funny. So yeah, I'm giving it 1 star.
Yeah, it's a 1-star song. I'm sorry, Paul.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul. All right. So
Which brings us to the big conclusion. Now, I will say about Ebony and Ivory, if this were 2024, there's no way that anybody would let them sequence what was clearly the hit song of the record as the final track on the record, right?
yeah,
This
yeah,
was like I think,
that wouldn't happen. No.
um, but it was allowed to happen back then. I guess because you're Paul McCartney, you could do whatever you want to, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But Ebony, obviously, it's his other Stevie Wonder collaboration, and it's you know, I mean, it seems. Can I use the word cheesy?
Yes, you
By
can.
today's, yeah, but by today's standards, it seems cheesy to be singing about the racial um, discussion as notes on a keyboard, but
And this
or even belittling it maybe. But I mean, I remember it being people liked it at the time.
yeah. I mean, it was a hit. It was a
Yeah,
hit.
absolutely.
I mean, and this is another one that sounds like a co-write and it's not. It sounds like it could have been easily been a co-write, but it's not. It's McCartney and yeah, I mean, it's hard to avoid the word cheesy on this though. It's just there's a lot of people that hear this song and cringe. They just think it's just like it's like the We Are the World of Paul McCartney solo. Um, you know, and it's more successful than in my opinion than I guess it's up to it, I don't know. It's a decent song. It's just
Yeah,
it's a little it's I cringe a little bit too. So,
it's cringy. I couldn't agree with you more. Ebony and Ivory in 2024 is a cringy song.
yeah.
It's not that it says anything. I mean, it's all technically good.
Mhm.
Ebony and Ivory living together in perfect harmony, side by side on my piano keyboard. Oh Lord, why don't we? He's asking.
Why don't we?
Why can't, yeah, why can't Ebony and Ivory, why can't we just all get along? I think is what he's saying
Yeah. Didn't
in
Rodney King say
1982
that?
style. Yes,
Can't we just all get along?
that's what he's saying. I think it's Paul trying too hard, and it
Yeah.
people liked it at the time, and then but in a retrospective criticism, which is what we're doing.
Right.
It's not 1982, it's 2024.
It's
And the
right.
2024 review of this song is that it's dated and the sound of it's really dated.
Yeah. Yeah, it
The
is.
sound of the synth does not really hold up.
No, no, it doesn't.
It does not hold up by today's standards. It's not a cool synth sound to me. And
No.
I'm sure we're going to take a lot of shit for this. But yeah, Ebony and Ivory's is it a 2? I'll give it a 3. I'll give it 3 stars just because it was a hit.
I was around 2.5 as
Yeah,
yeah, so pretty close. I'm just not that into it. When I listen to it, I just don't. I'm not that excited about it again.
yeah.
So yeah. So okay. So
I think we spent a
we're
lot
not
of
going to get
time
into.
on that. Are we gonna have to like, we're gonna have to
We're
rock
gonna
it
have to
through
rush
pipes
through
of
Pipes of
peace,
Peace a little bit. We're gonna have to pick up the pace, but
which
we're
is,
doing a lot of background stuff on Tug of War. We don't have to do as much
you know
background.
what? You can edit out as much as you want, but
No, it's okay. These are good. These are meant to be long videos. So these are for diehards that are into the records, like
all
us.
right, I hope so.
So, but we're gonna do we're not gonna do any kind of wrap up yet. We're gonna do that at the very end. So
We're gonna wrap up at the end.
that was Tug of War. We went through every song. Now we're gonna jump into Pipes of Peace pretty quickly here, and start going through songs with Pipes of Peace. This is 1983, the follow up to Tug of War. So here we go. Title track is Pipes of Peace. What do you think, Greg?
I like Pipes of Peace. It's a nice little song. I think it sounds nice. There it is.
There it is.
What do you think of the album cover, by the way?
I like it. It's not bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you know, this just tells you when I bought it at 5.99. That's not bad.
Oh, oh, good.
Not bad.
That was a bargain.
Yeah. And it's in pretty good
Well,
shape. It's still in pretty good shape actually. So I'm pretty happy
yeah,
with it.
yeah, mine.
But it's got the Van Gogh thing, right? The Van Gogh pipe, with the chair. Yeah.
And lots of pipes
Yeah. Pipes everywhere.
of
Anyway,
different kinds.
continue. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think Pipes of Peace is a nice. It's got a really classic McCartney thing where he comes in and he has the intro and the outro is like totally different. It has nothing to do with the song itself. I light a candle to our love,
And all up,
and he and he ends with that as well. And then it goes into kind of like at times kind of a marching thing, um, a military sort of beat. Um, and I just I it's got it's like it's very earth friendly. It seems like it's a genuine song for Paul. It's like, hey, can we save the earth? Is it too late?
And it's
It's
not
very
cringy.
eco. It's not cringy. It's
No.
very eco friendly. I like Pipes of Peace quite a bit. You?
I'm with you. I love Pipes of Peace. I think it's an excellent song. I have yes with an exclamation point. Awesome melodic song. Paul at his best. Works on all levels for me. I see why it's the title track. George Martin has great additions. And like you said, I love the military beat, that one part with the flutes and it sounds like a
Yeah.
great. I said I can't get this song out of my head. It's like an earworm when you hear it. And it holds a special place in my heart because my daughters and I sing it. I mean, my daughters love this song. So we always sing it in the car. We turn it up and we sing that's the song. So I love the song. I have to give it 5 stars. I love it.
I'm gonna give it 5 stars as well. So there you go.
All
We're
right.
tr- we're starting off right.
Strong start. Really strong start, actually. And then
And
say.
I'm gonna let you go. I'll let you go with say first. This is our first Michael
Okay,
Jackson collaboration.
okay. It's as you could see from Tug of War, I wasn't a huge fan of the guest spots.
Yeah.
However, on this one, I'm in. I am in another huge catchy song that is so well executed. Another excellent melody and upbeat song. Michael Jackson and actually they kind of fits in with Paul. I mean, it seems like they're collaborating. It's a true collaboration. Um, the best guest spot song he did in this period, in my opinion. Catchy horns and vocoder hook. I just think it's a very, very catchy song, and I like it.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Say is an excellent song. One thing I've learned today, which I did not know, is that Say was recorded a full year before the stuff he did with Thriller.
Oh,
This
interesting. Yeah.
isn't that crazy? They
Yeah.
actually recorded this April of 1981.
Okay.
It does not sound like that. It
Not at
sounds
all.
very contemporary. Um, it's the production is great. This is Michael Jackson's band that plays on this, by the way. Um,
Oh, so is it like the Toto guys?
this is Nathan Watts, Ricky Lawson, David Williams. This is Michael Jackson's full band, including horns.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah,
it totally has that Michael Jackson horns thing going on.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just solid musically. It's solid. The lyrics are so fun and great, and the hooks abound. This is a 5-star song for me.
I'm agreeing. 5 stars as well for me. So this album is starting very, very strong.
Very strongly.
So now we
Um,
go to the other me.
I'm going to start with The Other Me
Go
because
ahead.
I also love this song. The Other
Okay.
Me has always been one of my favorite Paul McCartney songs.
Wow.
Hard Stop. I've always loved it. I think it's got a great, you can tell it's one of those homemade Paul McCartney songs. I think he plays everything on the track. Um, I've always liked the dichotomy thing that's going, and maybe this has a lot to do with me and my faults, but the fact that he's kind of got this thing where it's like, hey, if I could just stop if I could just stop this other guy that's in me from being a jerk,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, maybe everything would be all right, but he can't.
Yeah.
It's always this struggle, right? And I think we always have that. And for me, it's just like lyrically and musically, I've always just really, really liked it. So for me, it's another 5-star Paul McCartney song.
Okay. Wow. 3 fives in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. I I'm gonna say I don't have as much enthusiasm about this as you do. I do, however, I will say that it's a catchy song, and when I listened to it today, I listened to the both albums today just to kind of cleanse my palate, start make sure that I'm okay with my opinions. And I always had this song as sort of a throwaway track, and it's not. It's grown on me. It obviously must have grown on me over time because it's catchy and stripped down. The song has grown on me. Drum machine groove, and I like how stripped down it is. It's another great melody, and I have here. It's funny that you said that. I said I like the lyrics. So it's a pretty strong track. I mean, it's stronger than I remember. Let's put it that way. It's grown on me. So I'm gonna give it 3.5.
Okay.
I used to think it was like a throwaway track. It's not.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. No,
Mhm.
I think it's one of in terms of, I think Paul revealing himself, which he doesn't do, I think maybe that often. I think this is a real one for Paul. So
Yep. Okay. Cool. 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 All right.
what
How
do you
about
think of
Keep
Keep Under?
Undercover?
Yeah,
You want me to go on that one?
Yeah, I'll let you go first on this one,
All
Tom.
right. I have this is quirky McCartney. He does sometimes he'll get quirky, and it seems like and he has that side to him where he'll do these songs that are a little bit off the beaten track, and this is kind of one of them. It takes a minute to get going, but then it really bursts into something cool. A pretty rocking song actually for him. At the end, it's got some sort of heavy guitars on it, which
Yep.
I really like. I always like when Paul rocks out. I love songs where he gets rocking, like
Yeah.
Jet and what else? Some of the stuff on Back to the Egg, I like a lot when he starts rocking out. I always thought
Yeah.
he was
Hell on Wheels
yeah, Hell in
and
Wheels,
Junior's
exactly.
Farm and
Yes,
High, High,
Junior's Farm, a
High and all
perfect
those.
example.
Yeah.
Yes. I love those tracks. I love when he rocks because he can rock really well.
Yeah.
Um, but this one, I wouldn't call this one an out and out rocker, but it kind of picks up as it goes. And I kind of dig it. I like it. I I'd give it 4 stars.
I'm going to give it 4 stars as well. I think that the side A of this record is solid, and that I think I love the Beatlesque um, Eleanor Rigby string thing
Tick,
that
tick,
goes
tick, tick,
on in
tick, tick,
this.
tick, tick. Yeah.
There's
So
no
good.
way that's an accident. There's no way
Yeah.
that that's an accident. That is a purpose. This may be his first throwback, like official, like I want you to remember that I was a Beatle
Yeah.
thing that he had done in quite some time. Where it's like you put this on and it's like this sounds like a Beatles song to
It does.
me.
It's Beatlesque for sure. For sure.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, the lyrics are somewhat nonsensical. What good is butter if you haven't got bread? What good is art if it hurts your head? I mean, that's classic Paul throwaway lyrics, but it doesn't, I don't, for some reason, I don't care in this song. It's
It
like, it's
doesn't
just,
bother me on this one. I agree.
no, yeah, it's flying along and it's fantastic.
Yeah. Cool, cool. So we agree on that one. So it moves from this rockin' track to a very mellow one called "So Bad."
So bad.
I'm gonna throw this to you.
So again, in terms of McCartney ballads, I think that if So Bad was kind of in the same place as My Love, for example, on Red Rose Speedway, if this to me could be a track at any point in McCartney's career. I mean, the production's a bit different. It's got a little bit of synth heavy production on it in some places, which makes it slightly dated sounding. But the lyrics, yeah, they're sappy. They're yes, of course they're sappy McCartney love song lyrics. I mean, whoever, if you don't like sappy McCartney love song lyrics, then you're not a McCartney fan. I'm sorry. Sorry to inform you. And that's what this is. And you know, he does the falsetto thing on it, which may turn some people off. I think it's great. I'm going to give it 4 stars as a Paul McCartney love song.
Well, I agree. Um, I this is one of those where it's almost like you're like, I don't know. But then I agree with you that when I listened today, I was thinking this could be My Love. I mean, this is very similar in feel to My Love, which I really like. So, and it's got that girl, I love you. Do, do, do. It's just like that's like a little like
Ringo.
drum hook. It's like
That's
it's
Ringo, right?
yeah,
It's Ringo for you.
it pulls you in, man. It's like it's as much as you almost don't want to like it because it's so like, oh, here's another sappy Paul McCartney love song. But then it's like it's so good. It's so well done, and I have in my notes it says drags me in. It just you can't deny it. Um, and I can't help but like it. So I'm with you. I think it's a great song. It's in that My Love mold.
And I think the fact that Ringo does play drums on this really drags it into that Beatle sounding thing again. That I think that probably appeals to us as well, and it definitely comes out in this song.
And a
So
killer melody, just killer melody.
killer melody.
Oh,
That's a good side A rating, Tom.
wow. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, right? Yeah. So that's a great first side. So
This is, and by the way, and this is maybe a good time as any to mention it. There were several songs, including "Say Say Say," his other Michael Jackson collaboration called "The Man," which we're going to talk about here in a second. "The Sweetest Little Show," "Average Person," and "Hey Hey." Those were all recorded during the Tug of War time period sessions. So the songs that weren't, the new songs for this record are "Pipes of Peace," "The Other Me," "So Bad," "Tug of Peace," and "Through Our Love." So, it's fascinating to me that he kept these songs. He obviously thought of them being different enough that they didn't fit on Tug of War,
mhm. Yeah.
which we haven't talked about, but it's these albums we're talking about them as two sides of the same coin in some ways, but to me they couldn't be more different. And by the way, this to me the production on this, it's exactly the same team. George Martin's producing. Jeff Emmerich is the recording engineer. It's the same exact team. This record sounds different to me. It's got a different sound to it, and I don't
Yeah.
know why.
No, I'm with you. It's this, and it's all probably Air Studios again, right? Or I think it's a couple
Yeah,
different places,
yeah,
um, but I think it's might probably primarily uh, Air Studios again. And Denny Lane is on this album again,
yeah. And Eric Stewart.
and Eric Stewart, exactly.
Yeah,
So a lot of stars on both of these albums. But who wouldn't want to play with a Beatle? I mean, if Beatle invites you to play on their album, of course you say yes.
yeah. That's it.
Um, so
So
anyway,
speaking of
yeah, let's move on. So
the
uh,
man,
the man, go ahead. I'm going to let you start on this one.
well,
I'll
the
start the next
star, the high star ratings had to end somewhere,
one.
and they end with the man.
That is correct.
This is a Michael Jackson co-write, just like Say, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
This one, though, um, I'm not even going to say that much about it because we're running long.
Side two. Yep.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
We're running long here, and I'm just going to say I don't care for it. It's a two-star song.
I'm gonna move this thing along too and say correct. I agree. Couldn't agree more. I don't like it. Just don't. I just like you said. I don't really have much to say about it. Just it's say is way more successful than this.
It's
Um.
it's not bad. It's
Yeah.
just mediocre, which makes it bad. So
Right. Right. Agreed. So I'm gonna give it. I'll give it 2 stars as well. So
yeah.
we can move on. Sweetest little show. Um. I have. I'll start. I'll jump in on this one.
Yes, please.
I say it's okay. Like you said, at some point the 5-star ratings were going to drop. The momentum is dropping on side two already, because the man is just not a great way to start it. And then Sweetest Little Show, I have it's all right. It sounds like a B side to me, actually, a little bit. But I will say that being said, I listened to the acoustic demo version of it on the deluxe, and I like
Yeah.
that better.
Okay.
It's like a sort of slower acoustic version of it that seems better to me. This one seems like they're trying to, again, the thing with Tug of War we talked about, where they're trying to tart it up a lot. They're trying to polish it and add more things to it. And I just the whole sweetest little show, it just I don't know, it just doesn't do much for me. I just don't like it.
Too sing-songy for you.
Yeah, a little bit.
I have a slightly better opinion of this song. I mean it's classic Paul McCartney uh in the twee genre
Hmm.
where he it, it's twee. I mean,
Yeah.
let's call it what
Call
it
it what
is.
it is. Yeah.
It's a cutesy song. I mean, it's not gonna. I don't think it's ever gonna be anyone's favorite Paul McCartney song. I like it better than you like it, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but it's for me, it's probably a three-star song.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it two stars.
Okay, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Okay,
Average person, though.
average person, you jump in on that.
Well, I'm going to jump in on average person because I like average person. I think this is one of those. This is a song. This is another song that would be that it could be have been released around the time of Uncle Albert Admiral Halsey, and it would have fit right in. I don't like so in that way it's timeless. Like 72, 82, doesn't really matter when this was, recorded. I think it's again it's twee. But again, that's Paul, it's got that sort of this is the ballroom dancing track on this record that
Yep.
but to me it works better than ballroom dancing because it's um it's slightly more relatable. So I to me it's a 3.5-star song because I do like the way it bounces along.
That's exactly my rating. I couldn't agree with you more. I have the same exact take on it as far as I think it's interesting. I think it's better than Sweetest Little Show. Um, I like the barrel house piano thing again that he does so well.
Yeah.
And I do like like you said, the lyrics kind of strange, but I kind of like them for some reason. And I agree that you're right, it could be like a Ram track. I mean, it's the way it's just like a typical McCartney track that is kind of quirky in a way that I like. I like, so I agree. I'm going to give it 3 stars. Did you say three? Three,
I said 3.5.
three and a half, 3.5. So I'm agreeing with 3.5 on that one. So,
All right.
but hey, I can't say much about. It's an instrumental with Stanley Clark on bass, apparently. Is that right?
That's correct. They co-wrote it. It's a
Yeah.
jam. It's a studio
It's
jam.
a
Let's face it.
exactly. It's a
Yeah.
jam. It's a jam. So I just have it's okay, not very memorable. It's all right, you
Yeah.
know.
This would not be out of place on McCartney or McCartney 2, right? I mean, that's
Right.
basically the kind of track that this is.
Mhm.
It's 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 that I'm not even going to rate it. It's just it's
Yeah.
kind of filler. It's filler
It's
basically.
filler. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
Tug of Peace. What do you think of that?
um Tug of Peace is, oh boy, the feelings are so,
What do you say about
there's,
Tug Piece?
it's like I'm getting tugged apart inside trying to, um, Tug of Peace
Trying
is,
to be positive, man. I'm trying to be positive.
no, so it's Paul doing a mashup before
Yeah,
mashups existed.
yeah,
He's mashing up Tug of War and Pipes of Peace into one song, and it's basically a one-line song. No, no, your troubles cease when you learn to play the pipes of peace.
right.
It's a tug of war. No, no, your troubles cease when you learn to play the pipes of peace. Um, and it's got a nice groove to it, though. It's relatively short. I can dance to it. I'll give it 3 stars.
I yeah, I mean it weird. I have weird soundscape vamp. Doesn't feel like it belongs quite on the record, but it's not hard. It's not bad. It's not, I don't have it like you said. It's almost that's a great comment. I didn't think about, like, it could be like a something like one of the instrumentals off of McCartney 1 or McCartney 2. With a little bit of lyrics in there. Um so I didn't really think of it in that context. So think about it like that, I could give it 3 stars.
Okay, we
Yeah,
agree.
yeah. So
Which brings
uh
us to the big power ballad on the record.
through our love. Um yeah, I mean, take it away. What do you think?
So, of the two ballads, is it fair to say the two ballads on the record, So Bad being the other one, that this one is not quite as successful for me as So Bad? Um, it's uh, it's a nice little love song. Um, it doesn't say that much to me.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing really to latch onto for it, but it's a nice sounding little love song. And when I hear it, I enjoy it. I enjoy listening to it while it's on.
Hmm.
So to me, it's like a 3.5 star love song for Paul.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I have good mellow ballad, pretty but not many hooks like on So Bad. So I've kind of same thought process as you.
Yeah.
Um, feels like it. I have another note I have is feels like it could have been developed more. It almost feels like it's kind of like not quite finished or something. Because it kind of starts building and building, and at the end it has that whole vocal thing with through all, and it's like, ooh, this could like go somewhere even further, and it kind of stops and ends. So you're like, oh man,
Yeah.
um, you know, it's pretty, but like you said, I don't know if it's not as successful as So Bad, and I'm gonna give it 3 stars.
Okay.
So
So we've just wrapped up every song on Tug of War and Pipes of Peace, Tom. They said it
rapid
couldn't be
fire,
done.
man.
Not so rapid fire, but
Well, we sort of rapid fired at the end, but those songs are some of the songs on side two there are not as memorable. So,
yeah.
um,
So for those listeners who have stuck it out, let's tell them what they've won.
here's what you won. You've won a wrap up of both albums and a summary of our opinions on these records. Um, and I'll I guess, do you want me to do this? Or you want
Yeah.
to start?
You go first. I would love to hear your opinions.
All right, I'll start it off. I will say that I'm going to start with both of these albums are good, are very good records. I mean, we're sitting here criticizing, and you know, it's easy to criticize certain songs here and there, but generally, I both of these albums for me are pleasant listening experiences with some great, as we talked about, some great highs in there with some awesome songs in both on both records. Um, there's the whole, I remember when I bought these albums, and the narrative on these records when I first bought them back in high school with some of my buddies, it was always like, oh, Pipes of Peace is like tug of war outtakes. It's not that good. It's pretty bad. It's tug of war outtakes. It's not. It's all leftover material. It's not good. He rushed it out. He didn't spend much time on it. He was worried about his movie. Give my regards to Broad Street. He and it's not very good. time has proven that incorrect. When you listen to the Pipes of Peace, especially the first side, we talked about the first side is bangers all the way through. I mean, it's like relentless. So, however, I would say that the tracks that aren't quite as good on Tug of War are better than, in my opinion, are better than a little bit better, not a lot, a little bit better than Pipes of Peace. So I'm gonna, if it comes down to I have to pick one or the other, I will I will pick Tug of War. Will be my winner, but not by much. I used to, if we had done this video 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would have said not even a contest. Like this isn't even it's not even close. Now I think it's very close.
Okay.
And I don't know if Pipes of Peace has just grown on me a lot, but I think that it's a very close battle at this point, and Tug of War wins by a nose. That's my take on it.
Okay. Okay. Um, so when again, I'll go with you. I got these. I bought these records. One when I was in junior high school. One when I was in high school, and I liked them considerably when I first got them. Both of them. I loved them, and which was not cool, by the way, for you younger listeners.
It wasn't cool. It wasn't.
Liking the Beatles or Paul McCartney in 1982 was not cool.
If you had these under your arm in high school, man, they were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. Where's your Rush records?
Exactly.
Yeah. Which I also had. That's a different video.
Yeah.
But I am going to, if we're just going straight up picking our picks, and I don't know if you got this impression when I was reviewing the songs, my pick, and this is the inside sleeve, is Pipes of Peace. I
Okay.
I love the record. I think that the songs are stronger, interestingly, than the songs on Tug of War. Yeah, I think to me it's like you could put Pipes of Peace in the same column as Back to the Egg,
Yeah.
where like a lot of like it was certainly written off at the time. A lot of people still don't get it, but
Mhm.
to me, I think it's like one of those kind of um, underground classics. I'm putting Pipes of Peace in the same category as Back to the Egg, folks.
Yeah, that's a good, I like that. That's a good thing. That's a good comparison, I think, because and Back to the Egg has grown in reputation. For some reason, it seems like people are liking Back to the Egg way more than they did back in the day.
Yeah,
It's in retrospect, people are really ranking it. So that's what we're trying to do. We're going to get Pipes of Peace
we're getting
reexamined.
Pipes of Peace. Yes,
That's our whole
redeeming it.
goal here, people. Go listen to the album. Go listen to it.
That's what we're here
But no,
for.
truly, truly, if you made it with us this far, we appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you, Greg, for joining me tonight. It's been really fun, um, and
Thank you for having me.
absolutely,
It was fun.
it's been great. It's a lot of fun. We love talking music. We could talk about this all night. But uh, what we'd love to for you to do is, if you have an opinion, what's your take on it? Please comment on the video. And as always, like and subscribe, please, if you like what you see. And again, my esteemed guest tonight, Greg Addington, musician, engineer. I mean, you name it. This guy does it all. Great guitar player, great songwriter. If you his music is what is the name of your solo record?
Oh, my solo record is a superimposition under
Yeah,
the name Suburban Hi-Fi,
that's right.
the
Suburban High.
band name.
Yeah, Suburban Hi-Fi, but it's all Greg basically. And then we also play in a band called the Hangabouts. Check that out. That's some great records by the Hangabouts as well. So just a little plug for both of us.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
yeah. So anyway, thanks again, Greg. And next time we'll do, I don't know, we'll do a battle between McCartney and McCartney 2. I don't know. That'll be the
I
next.
like it. All
Yeah.
right.
All
I
right,
look
Greg, take
forward to
care,
it.
man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care, Tom.